A couple of hours ago, Germany just legalized weed. In this video, I'll go in depth into what this means for Europe, as well as everything what you need to know about this legalization of marijuana in Germany. Hey Slavic Vikings, and I've got a question for you. Do you think this drug should be legalized? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy topics like this. So a couple of hours ago, the German parliament voted on a bill to legalize recreational use of marijuana. There was a lot of opposition, but 407 lawmakers voted in favor, 226 against, and 4 abstained. And the bill passed. And the reason for that happening is basically because the ruling coalition government voted on legalization of this drug. And what is this coalition? So the coalition is based off of 3 parties: the center-left, the business-focused party, and the environmentalist Greens. And this coalition of these 3 parties is basically what decided to legalize this drug. But when will this come into practice, and what are the details and restrictions of this new legislation? So the legislation or bill for this new act to legalize marijuana will be enacted on July 1st, so basically next week. And there are going to be some very obvious restrictions, like for example, it will be only allowed for people over the age of 18, obviously. But there are some unexpected restrictions, like for example, adults can only grow up to 3 plants, can possess 50 grams at home and 25 grams in public. But that's not it, since consumption near schools and playgrounds will also be illegal, but that actually kind of sounds like a good idea. And also, it seems like they'll be enacting something in the sorts of the Amsterdam coffee shops, since they will open social clubs since next week for distribution of this marijuana juicy product. But there will be very strict membership rules, or so the party claims. So it does seem like there are gonna be a lot of restrictions and limitations for the legalization of this drug, but it's more than nothing, am I right? But this legalization bill was not passed without conflict, since there were major parties that disagreed with this legislation. I disagree with this, but weed is considered the devil's lettuce, and therefore it makes sense that the Christian Democratic Union majorly disagreed and argues against this bill. The biggest argument for their disagreement is its impact on the youth, but this new bill does somewhat address that concern with its new legislation of limiting it near schools and playgrounds, right? But that's not all the German government is doing to address this issue, since the government of Germany, the coalition party I mentioned earlier, is now gonna start a nationwide campaign to educate the youth on the dangers of weed. On the other hand, the biggest argument or official argument the government is using to legalize this weed is for reducing black market and drug-related crimes. And also, in recent years, there has been a high rise of doping and adding other chemicals into joints and weed, so it's more powerful and gives a bigger kick. And if this becomes legal, the government will be able to regulate it. And you know what else the government will be able to do if it becomes legal, which it is? That's right, taxes. Think about the millions, if not billions of euros being spent on weed in Germany each year without the government getting a penny. Now that Germany will be legalizing and regulating this market, it will be able to tax the people, and it will be able to get so much money from these taxes that this is, in my opinion, one of the biggest arguments for the legalization of drugs in general. Just think about how much governments are, for example, making on nicotine products like cigarettes. Because cigarettes are so bad for you and the environment, the government is almost morally obligated to tax its users extremely, and therefore governments make a bunch of money off of drugs and addictive products. An example of this is the Japanese government. The Japanese government actually encourages its people to drink alcohol because alcohol taxes is such a big part of the Japanese revenue. But anyway, I'm rambling. Let me get back to Germany and weed. So, official polls say that around 45% of the actual people support this legalization of weed, but also a very large part is indifferent to it, so this legislation seems pretty democratic. Now let me get into how this will impact the rest of Europe, because I genuinely believe this will have a huge impact. So first of all, Germany is now officially the third European country to legalize recreational cannabis. However, I would say it's the first real European countries, since the only other European countries that have legalized weed is Malta and Luxembourg, and those are pathetically small countries that I would barely even call legitimate. Hold up, you might have been confused by what I just said, since I mentioned places with legal weed and I didn't mention the Netherlands, or Holland, how Americans might know it. I thought Holland was known to legalize weed, or known for its weed, etc. But as it turns out, the Netherlands haven't actually legalized weed. They've just legalized coffee shops, they've decriminalized a bunch of shit, and it is legal or decriminalized, whatever, to possess less than 5 grams. But it is in black and white in other countries, since for example Portugal treats the consumption of small amounts of cannabis as administrative offenses, and also Spain allows the private consumption of up to 100 grams of the drug. It is still illegal, however, to consume or possess cannabis in public places, so it is a bit complicated in different countries. For example, where I live right now, you might have guessed from my channel name and profile picture, Poland, I live in Poland, that's right, it is very illegal to smoke marijuana or any marijuana products. But despite it being illegal, it is obnoxiously easy to get legal prescriptions. You literally just go to a website, send them some symbolic amount of money, and you just write down your problem. It doesn't have to be any real problem, they don't even read it, and a couple of weeks later they send you a message and you just go pick it up in a pharmacy near you or whatever. I haven't tried this, my friend has, but moving on. Warning, warning, opinions coming up, you don't have to agree. So I wish I could talk a bit more personally about my opinion on this recreational drug. However, it is still technically very illegal in Poland, and I don't even want to risk getting in trouble. However, what I will say is that I see marijuana as equal or even safer as alcohol in most instances, and I believe it should be legal. And honestly, I think what Germany did and how Germany is handling this situation as very well. Like, for example, I agree that it's a huge issue with children smoking weed, especially regularly, and therefore the education program they're starting now, the restriction of near schools and the other stuff they're doing to combat children smoking, I think Germany is doing it really safely, as well as the other restrictions, they seem very reasonable. Once again, reminding you, these were my opinions, you can disagree, and I would love to know your opinions, so leave a comment down below on your opinion. Do you believe it's the devil's lettuce gateway drug to hell or the red-eyed road to heaven? What are my predictions of other countries legalizing weed? So first of all, honestly, I've been saying for quite a while that when Germany legalizes weed, the rest of Europe will follow, since Germany is basically the big daddy of Europe, the richest, most powerful country, and honestly, the legislations that Germany enacts, many other countries in Europe follow Germany and get inspired, if you will. So therefore, I think this is extremely huge news for Europe, and I believe in the next couple of years, we will see many other European countries legalizing or moving towards the legalization process of this drug. I think the most likely candidates for this is Spain, since they already have very loose drugs, the Czech Republic, which has already decriminalized and allowed like growing your own plants, Portugal, Switzerland, Italy, and honestly, with the new coalition government of Koalicja in Poland, a couple months ago, the old Law and Justice Party got kicked out of the Polish government. And now there's a pro-EU, much more liberal party. And honestly, I don't see it as extremely unrealistic for even Poland to legalize weed in the next couple of years. Subscribe if you want to eat a schnitzel while smoking a blunt. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, farewell, żegnam, and goodbye.